arrived at the end of the year, and what an exciting year it's been. We are now done with the ANC elective conference. Just to remind you, I did tell you as early as January of this year who was going to win, and that Cyril would squeak in at the last minute. That did happen, and we will have lots more to talk about in South African politics and the world in the year ahead. Today we need to look at the month ahead, and the month ahead is already January of 2018. So although I'm talking about January, just to remind you, this is not the year ahead that we're going to talk about. When we come back for our next year in the new year on the 19th of January, I'll be talking about what the year has ahead in store for South Africa. We'll be taking a much more detailed look at Cyril Ramaphosa and other new players in the ANC executive, and checking out also what you can expect for the year ahead of 2018. But right now it's the month ahead of 2018, that's January 2018, that we are going to be looking at, just so that you're ready to hit the ground running when the new year rolls around. A quick word on what's ahead for the country in the month of January. Well, there is the slow reaction and adjustment to the changes that have happened in the ANC, and of course the slow reaction and adjustment to the changes in the fact that they didn't happen in the government, they simply happened in the ruling party, and now we have everyone waiting to see what's going to happen. One thing I will tell you about Cyril Ramaphosa is that he is a double Scorpio. That means that he was born under the sign of Scorpio, and it was new moon, so the moon was also in Scorpio when he was born. So double Scorpio. Well, even a single Scorpio likes to play their cards very close to their chests, and that is what we're going to see with the current new president of the ANC. So we won't know for quite a while what he's up to, and he's going to of course act very slowly and strategically at first. He's in the difficult position of having to show that he's making changes and at the same time show that he's not making changes. Well, I suppose it takes a double something to do something as double as that, and you can definitely rely on a Scorpio to have that one covered. So suffice it to say, there's going to be, as ever in this government, a lot happening behind the scenes. And even when we have a look at the chart for the country over the course of the next month, we can see not only stuff happening behind the scenes, but a lot of confusion and uncertainty. We, the public, will see some of that. There will be much more than that going on in the ANC. Even when we have a look at the position of the president of the country, Jacob Zuma, over the course of the next month, it's very clear that he's surrounded on two sides by very different camps. And it's not as literal, say, as the camps that we saw at the elective conference, but he is being pulled at different sides, by different sides, and he's kind of trapped in the middle. Strictly speaking, the astrologer expects he is dealing with his enemies more carefully over the month of January and working out what to do about all of that. I guess his friends must be the ones on the other side also giving a bit of a pull and a tug. But for the most part, we won't see very much happening. We will eventually get to see it in the months that follow and hear about it later on. As for what's ever happening in the ANC itself, well, there are still hidden rumblings going on, but to get a full sense of what's the effect on the ANC of the changes that happened at the conference this December, well, we might have to wait as late as April, perhaps March at the earliest, for that. So more about that next year. Don't forget to watch January 19th for the year ahead show. Meanwhile, let's look at your January. For the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra and Capricorn, it's all about people, friends, associates and maybe not such friends in the month ahead. Starting with Aries, well, even though you're ready to kind of get the year calmly under control and get things happening, things are not yet quite in place. And the good news is that to keep you occupied in the meanwhile, you will have all those fresh people that I'm talking about. It's time for new friends, new people of all kinds, new acquaintances, and that does mean that there might be a bit of a reshuffle going on. People who no longer are valuable in your life and people who maybe haven't been the best of friends could also be removing themselves from your life at this time. And it does create a bit of a theme for you, Aries, to out with the old and in with the new with regards to people and perhaps everyone else as well. Everything else as well. You might also find, in other words, that there's some strategies that need to be left aside and you need to be getting back on with what really is beneficial to you and what's also something new, because remember, out with the old and in with the new is what it's all about. Family relationships will still be quite significant at that time. This time there is still some stuff that you need to be sorting out, but for the most part, take the new approach. A radical rethink is what's needed. For Cancerians, well, your connection with others this month is all about some relying that needs to be done. And although you don't easily trust other people and you often prefer to do things yourself, you're going to have to really rely on other people at this time, especially for resources that you might need, whether it's money or access or other resources. You don't have everything you need to continue, and you're going to need to call it in. You can't sit around and wait for that. So you might need to actually take a step down or two, because the chart does look like you're resisting any kind of help, and really that's just shooting yourself in the foot. There are new possibilities, there are new avenues opening up to you, but you need the catalyst of the help from other people at this time. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Roping everyone together and getting everyone to agree, that's not going to be a fun job for you at this time. So you're going to have to show some vision and be persuasive and actually make sure that you're listening to the input and the ideas of those working around you. If you can show that kind of trust and yourself, allow yourself to trust them, this can really be an incredible month if you just let go of what you think is the only important thing and allow a much bigger world to be introduced to you through the amazing new people that you're in contact with at this time. You're going to have a great month. For Librans, of course, a month where relationships and people are all important is really your best kind of month. And in terms of personal relationships, that's going to be really great for you. You're on a roll, things are looking good and working well, and hopefully your partner is on the same page as you. You're going to have to struggle a little bit to keep it real. You're the romantic one in the relationship or the potential relationship. Maybe you're just in the phase of connecting and flirting and having fun with people. All of that's going to go down really well as well. But in terms of your personal relationships, that same kind of attitude can come across as a little flighty or gushy. So don't be surprised if you get into a little bit of trouble through not being trusted that way. Make sure you're showing your authentic feelings and don't give the impression of just romance. When it comes to the less personal relationships, the working relationships and so on, well, that's charm, and that is going to get you a long way. There is someone whose help that you're going to have to rely on, and quite frankly, the only way you're going to get it is if you do a little bit of schmarming and buttering up and using your social skills. Take the roundabout path. Don't be shy to use your skill with people and persuasion, and you'll see the opportunity to follow some of your own ambitions. And then you can all go along down the same path, and everyone is going to benefit as long as you are. Capricorns also need to rely on others for some of your business successes at this time. But the good news for Capricorns is that increasingly things are looking like they're falling into place. For the most part, your negotiations in your personal life are paying off, and there is a better balance between what you want and what your partner wants and so on. And you're going to find the opportunity for the same in your professional life as well. It does mean that you are going to have to rely on others, like some of the other cardinal signs, and that's not your favorite thing to do. But you need to make sure that you find someone who has the skills and talents that you don't have in order to go ahead in the month ahead. You need to also make sure that you keep a very clear line between personal and professional this month, as it does look like there could be some confusion and there might be a problem with another person because of that. The fact is that you're not going to be able to make it on your own, so you need to be very careful that you choose people who are able to help you but not get caught up in your life in any kind of way. Still, it means it's all about cooperation, and your lesson for January, even though it's your birthday month, is you're not actually necessarily the boss right now, just on your birthday, so have a good one. For the fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio and Aquarius, this is a time of stepping back a little bit. Not something that you should have too much of a trouble with. For Taurians, being behind the scenes, keeping your own counsel, all of that is going to be your strategic plan for the month ahead. But I do need to remind you that keeping behind the scenes means that you can't exercise your stubborn, determined, I'm taking kind of charge attitude that you might feel like doing. So it's time to sit back, let someone else take control, and very importantly, listen to the feedback that you are getting, because you need to make your plans more practical. And even though you're good at that, you're probably going to need some input in order for that to happen. It's one of those times to take a few steps backwards so that you can take a few steps forward along the way as well. But don't lose heart, there's plenty of new opportunities coming your way. In your personal life, there's a lot of support going on, and actually here you can be proactive. One or two things you need to confront in your personal life. Don't feel sorry for yourself, be practical, be honest, be down to earth, and you can clear up something that could have been bugging you for a long time and introduce lots more fun into that relationship. Leos will enjoy the opportunity to step back and be part of something, not just be running the show as you always seem to find yourself doing, or maybe just wanting to do. Actually, it's not quite a step back as you like. People are listening to you and paying attention, and you might find yourself in a teaching position during the course of this month. That's also going to cause some flack, some feedback, even some criticism, and you're going to have to be clear on reality, you're going to have to be firm about reality, and perhaps take a step or two back and concede that you might have been wrong about something as well. Plenty of opportunities though to get what you want and focus on what you want, so it will be easy to be wrong about something. Both your professional life and your personal life are needing quite a narrow focus. Your personal life, you need to identify your important goal for this month and for this early part of the year, and just concentrate on that. There will be an opportunity to delegate and share, and that's also quite important, because remember, it's not all about you this month as well. And the same goes for your personal life. Make your focus your partner. This is going to give you an opportunity to make them feel important and to set the tone for a really balanced, important time for your relationship this year. Scorpios, this month of being behind the scenes is mostly about keeping your own counsel. As we were saying about Scorpio, Cyril Ramaphosa, that's not something that's going to be very difficult for you to do, something that you naturally do. But it's also important not to get drawn into things. So it's on one hand keeping yourself to yourself, but people are going to be drawn to you, people are going to be trying to gain the upper hand over you, and people are going to be flattering you to try and get their way. It does sound like I was thinking of Cyril Ramaphosa when I was thinking of Scorpio, but actually it's true for all of you. This is a month when you keep your efforts to yourself. Small efforts go a long way at this time, and you need to make sure that you're not influenced by those around you. Still, you're going to have to work cooperatively, and in any partnership situation, a combined effort is going to produce a great result in some way. You're going to have to invest new resources, and you're going to have to invest in the people around you for this to work. So again, be very careful to keep those boundaries in place and not be taken advantage of in any way. Relationships will thrive under these kind of conditions, and it actually looks like there are lots of new possibilities on the way. People seem to be finding you very attractive right now, and remember, that's great, and maybe there's something new. Just don't fall for flattery. Aquarians, you probably feel like a holiday right now. Behind the scenes is one thing, you want to get away from it all. It's January. Hopefully, if you didn't get a holiday in December, you'll have a chance to do that. And we're heading for your birthday, and so that quiet month before the birthday is a great time to have a holiday. But I'm just not so sure you're going to get the opportunity to do that. There's still a lot of dependence that you have on others and them on you, with stuff that you've been working out, and you need to make sure that in your group efforts and shared efforts you're not coming across too individualistic and rebellious. Although those are natural characteristics of yours, they could be a little unsettling to other people at the moment. You might even see more of that evidence in your personal relationships, which aren't going as well as you'd like them to go. Make sure that your natural tendency to be a little bit distant or thinking about other things isn't causing people to think you're being cold, aloof and distant in any kind of a way. Work cooperatively with your partner as well, and be clear on not letting them feel isolated and not letting them feel that they don't know what your feelings are. If you're feeling stuck or restricted in some way, if you're feeling that the partnership has outrun its course, you need to express yourself and make that clear. But it does look like there's still some life in it yet. The mutable signs, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius and Pisces, have a kind of go-get-it month. But that doesn't mean that all of you really want to do that. Geminis, you seem to feel like you need a holiday again and time to get away from it all. You're a little bit overwhelmed by all the personal and social energy. And even though you're good at keeping all the people happy all the time, this is no longer the time to be doing that. You actually need to pull your energies back together. Gemini, it looks like you're quite scattered at the moment, be spreading yourself too thin. So you actually need to take a few steps back. Firstly, in terms of your professional life, the plans and goals that you've got out there, you have dissipated a lot of your energies, and you need to be more choosy and more fixed about what's really going to be important this year. Gemini, more than anyone, you need to be making not resolutions for January, but just identifying clear existing goals and focusing only on those. In your personal life, you're being a little bit too focused. It looks like you're too sure that you're right, and you could be creating a little bit of tension by not seeing the bigger picture. A little bit of time and energy and space on your own would be absolutely magical and will restore the balance in your personal life and help you focus on what's important. Just make sure you take that break. Virgos, it looks like the year kind of got started a little bit too quickly for you, and you might find that you haven't really got your to-do list on the go, or the unfinished business is still lingering from last year, and so on. So you need to organize that. The way to do it is firstly make sure that you have discharged your duties and obligations to others. It does look like the year starts with your own needs and goals not at the top of the priority list. So pursuing those isn't going to help very much. So start getting your to-do list going by checking out what still needs to be done, what unfinished business exists. January can be a month of consolidation and completion, of making sure that all your responsibilities to other people are met, so that by the time February comes along, you can really be much more focused on your own goals and making sure that you achieve what's important to you without having to come off second best or worry about what's important to everyone else, as you have been doing so over the last few months. Even other people in your personal life look like their needs are taking priority, and you might feel as if you're doing all the work. So don't get into a selfish mode. For some Virgos, this is going to be a time for new relationships. So whatever you do, February is finally the month when your whole year starts getting going. For Sagittarians, it's going to take a little bit of effort to get the show on the road, mostly because you can't quite just yet. So for January, you really need to be focusing on your personal life. It's a great opportunity to make changes around the home, to focus on new goals for the relationship, and to kind of find a way to bring fresh energy into your relationships. Of course, for some Sagittarians, this is going to be a new relationship or a new possibility of a relationship, as there's so much fresh energy in the relationship department in your chart. But if it's not a new one, you need to be having a look at what's been stagnant over the last few months or years and start making some changes. It's all about fresh, clean sweeps. It really is a January, a new year for you. What you don't want to be is impatient and irritable. That's going to affect your relationships, and it will affect the work that you're impatient and irritable about. You're eager to get the year going, and it looks like there's a little bit of unfinished business that needs to happen in order for that to be true. So first, spend January identifying what is your most important goal, what is the goal that's going to be best for business in the long run. And once you have finished dealing with what's going on in your personal life, you can get your professional goals back into action, and by February they'll be flying. Pisceans are sometimes accused of lagging and drifting and going all over the place before they really get ahead with what's going. But you've started the year ahead of the pack. It looks like you've got some things already under your belt and you've got some great new plans on the go, but your professional plans and your personal plans aren't entirely compatible with each other at the moment. So concentrating on your personal plans is a great way to start the year. You need to sort some misunderstandings out at home. Make sure that a haste or carelessness hasn't led to some problem or led to either your partner misunderstanding you or some kind of conflict within the home. And most importantly, don't assume that you've been understood or that your partner is on the same page as you. Important to get your personal life really sorted in January so that you can go ahead successfully, because your professional life is looking good. There is a warning of not having too much on your plate at one time, which is a great one to learn from. There is a little bit too much unfinished business that you're dragging along with you, and your enthusiasm is stronger than or faster than how things are actually moving, and that'll get you a little bit out of sync. So go very slowly. Don't challenge your health, don't challenge your relationship. Work from the personal, sort that out, to the professional. The month gets going well, the year gets going well, and you will be on top of it from the word go. Well, hopefully that gets your year off to a good start. Do remember that we will be back on January the 19th with the year ahead, and shortly after that with your personal year ahead. So 2 important shows coming up in January. In the meanwhile, this is the last fresh show of 2017. We'll be running a couple of your favorite shows over the course of the holidays for the next 3 weeks, and I'll be back on January the 19th with that year ahead show. So don't miss your holiday viewing in the weeks ahead, your 3 most favorite interviews that I was asked to screen again. We'll be revisiting Cheryl Ozinski at the Aranya's City Farm, and that's an inspiring interview that will hopefully also inspire you to actually come and visit the Aranya's City Farm and see the great work that they're doing with organic food, organic vegetables, and how they're managing the water situation and so on. We'll also be visiting Picasso again, the marvelous painting pig, and learning all about what he's really about, how he got to painting, and with his owner Joanne, who's a passionate vegan, and teaching us why we need to love our farm animals more than we really do. A great visit to a beautiful place. Join us for that. And of course, the most favorite episode by far of all, the Trans Sky episode, where we'll be visiting Chris and Tom Memplopi Reed at his remote home in Ponderland. Don't miss that. Stay tuned over the next couple of Fridays to check that out and share that with your holiday viewers. We will be back with a new show in January. Meanwhile, don't forget to visit on the Facebook page, and don't forget to get your copy of my book, Your Stars, so you can find out in detail what's going on in the year ahead, and I will see you in it.